For today, our guest speaker is Brennan Matriano. He was an
Hey,
intern in Twitter. Please welcome Brennan, everybody.
hey Hans, nice to meet you. Just
Very
give me
nice.
a sec to get
Yeah,
my
sure, go.
camera up and running. It's things.
So guys, hello. So where you guys are from? Maybe I can hear from you guys. Where you from? Where are you doing? Are you guys are you guys all interested with job in tech? Or some of you maybe students? Maybe let's look for a name here. Uh, Hello. Let's see. Got here. Hello, Phoebe. Hello, welcome to our event. It's nice to see you here. Uh, Maybe can I hear from guys? Uh, Hello.
Hello,
Hello.
everybody.
All right, all right. We got friends here now.
All right.
I
Brennan,
think
how
Mm,
you doing over
my
there?
camera's up.
All right,
nice,
Brennan.
Hello.
nice to hear.
Yeah.
All right, Phoebe.
Can you hear
Got
me?
Phoebe here from UCLA. Maybe some other guys want to represent your university here. Would be great.
School pride. All right. All right. Without further ado, let's do this. Brennan, thank you for coming to the show.
Right.
Would you like
Thank
to
you.
introduce yourself to the audience we got tonight and today?
Right. Yeah, sure. So I'm Brennan. I was an intern at Twitter in 2018. I was under the database site reliability engineering team. Uh, yeah. So my degree is management information systems, and yeah, I think that's a like a just a brief background of who I am. Like, are you looking for something particular?
Yeah, all right. Sounds interesting. Sounds interesting. All right. So we would like to start off. Let's just start off small. How has life been during quarantine?
I mean, it's been all right. It just takes kind of a bit of effort to adjust to like not being able to go through the places that you usually want to go, places that you usually go on a day-to-day basis. Those things are out of stable, and yeah, like even just like having online meetings instead of face-to-face meetings, that kind of threw me off a bit, but I'm learning to adjust. Yeah.
All right. That sounds
All right.
nice.
So, Brennan, uh,
Mhm.
can you tell how did you get the interview to for your Twitter internship?
I mean, I applied, like yeah. I mean, yeah, that the whole application process was pretty easy. Everything's streamlined there, but I guess the more interesting parts, though, like what I did beforehand, like all the steps that I've taken then. Yeah, like before, I didn't only apply to Twitter. I applied to a bunch of different places: Facebook, Google, the usual suspects. The places that people usually want to go to for internships. I applied there. Got rejected from all of them except for Twitter. But yeah, I really only needed the one.
All right. So this.
So yeah, so Twitter has this application form that they open like once a year, usually late in the year, from October I think up to February for the full time new grad roles and the internship roles. So I applied there, did a coding test, did another coding test, behavioral interview, and yeah, then I ended up at Twitter.
It's very interesting, actually. What was the hardest part for you in that interview? Since it seemed very fruitful, a lot of
Uh,
things happened.
yeah, the hardest part I suppose was the test that they gave me. They gave me a test that they usually give for full-time employees, new grads, that kind of thing. I think it's for people who already with a bit of experience. So they didn't really have any tests on hand for me that were intern friendly. So yeah, I had to go with that one, and yeah, it was pretty difficult. Took me about 2 days to get that thing right. But yeah, I mean, I think they liked the solution because I got there.
Okay, so in relation to how did you prepare for this interview, then I mean those parts, because that was hard, what did you do to you know overcome it?
Yeah. So the preparation part, yeah, that's always the most important part. Uh, yeah, I mean, you have the usual suspects. You should always go through lead code, just not the lead code hard. You can just stick to lead code easy and lead code medium. Those are the where most recruiters pull their questions from. So it's good to have a good grasp on that. Aside from that, it's also very good to have your own set of personal projects that you've accomplished, like before applying to an internship or any job for that matter. Like you're gonna want to show the recruiter and the potential manager that you've actually done something. Like you can actually produce something by yourself. You can work with teams ideally if you have that kind of experience. Yeah, you just need to get those ready in your resume or portfolio website
Hmm.
if you have one. Resume, yeah, the resume is also another important part that you I've covered during my time preparing for this. Like I've had it reviewed by a bunch of people, like different in different tech companies, just to kind of get a good grasp of what hiring managers in Silicon Valley look for.
Okay, okay, that sounds nice. Oh, just want to tell the audience, everybody, you guys can write your questions down in the chat box if you guys have any questions for Brennan. Anything to ask. Viramon, would you like to take over? Viramon.
Yeah, hello. Sorry. Okay.
Hello.
Uh, so Brennan.
Hmm.
So can you give us? We got some questions here coming up from the
Oh, we
audiences.
do.
Uh,
All right.
so Ali here wants is asking me if you maybe you have some resources to share or maybe some resume tips.
Huh. Okay. Yeah. So actually, for resources, there's someone I know that collected a bunch of resumes, like of past interns of different companies. So like my resumes there, there's the resumes of a bunch of people from Facebook, Google, Stripe, etc. Hang on, let me just bring it up. I think it's called Resume Hub. I think you can just look it up. It should be fairly easy to search. But yeah, it's a good repository for everyone for a bunch of people who've gotten into Silicon Valley companies for internships and for full time.
Mm, okay.
And let me just double check.
Uh, could we ask
Yeah,
for a link for those
yeah,
resources?
sure. Just give me a sec to type it down.
All right, sure. While you're at it, maybe we could
Yeah,
get
sure.
some audience. Guys, you can keep asking questions. You can also use your mic. Here, I think in Fiesta, the great feature about this app is that you guys could also speak. It's like a video conference type. So you guys can hop in with your mic. There we go.
Nico, you got anything for
Yeah.
us? Nico? Oh no, I think Nico can't hear us.
I think is he here? Maybe he's having trouble connecting.
Well, he's here, but I don't think he can hear us. Uh, Nico, if you can hear us, try using the chat.
Hmm.
Right.
Okay.
That
So
don't that.
all right. We could move on with
All right.
more questions here from
Yeah,
uh
sure. Absolutely.
here. There's a question here from Mark. Uh, the- can you give any tips on how to network in the in tech industry?
Yeah. That's a good one. I suppose the best tip I can give you is not to be discouraged, like, and just keep reaching out to people and make sure that you're using their time properly. Because, like, these kinds of people, they're usually on call if they're software engineers, making sure that things don't break in the middle of the day. So every second of their time is valuable to them. So yeah, don't get discouraged when they don't reply, because a lot of them are busy. But if they do reply, make sure to make the most out of their time, because like they're usually very busy throughout the day, even the weekends. In my case, even in the middle of the night when they're on call.
Mm, okay, that's actually a good good thing to know that it's not always easy to network with these people since they are
Yeah,
busy as
yeah,
well.
yeah. I know. But I mean, you'll find a lot of good people to network with. There's a lot of nice people in Silicon Valley. A lot of people that came from the bottom too, or near the bottom, or just want to help people get up in life. There's a lot of people like that too. So yeah, don't be discouraged.
Yeah, that's also good to know that there are still a lot of people that will help you if you reach out to them.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Silicon Valley honestly sounds intimidating, to be honest. But
Yeah, it
hey, that's
does.
nice
It
to hear that
does.
people are just kind there.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right,
I mean,
so
like,
if you
yeah,
don't,
yeah. Just
yeah, go.
don't like put Silicon Valley on a pedestal. You'll do fine anywhere in tech. Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay. If you don't mind my asking, um, what did you work on in Twitter? If you can disclose that, please.
Hmm. Sure. So what I worked on was a system to monitor the databases
Mm.
of a specific team. So like if something goes down or something lags behind the other databases and replications, or that sounds a bit technical now that I see it. Uh, yeah, it lets the team know that hey, we need to take care of this database. Something's going wrong, and helps them act quickly in case something happens. That was like a thousand or so databases. So the real challenge about that one was getting everything real time because I mean that's 1,000 databases. You can't afford to for like a minute or so. So yeah, that's basically
All
what
right.
I did over there.
Cool, 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 cool.
That's cool.
In addition to that, since you did work on site, how was the atmosphere there? Like how did it feel?
Yeah. So the thing about Twitter is like it's not like Google or what do you call this Apple where they have a big open campus. It's like a nice small building in the middle of San Francisco and Market Street. Yeah. So the most exciting things that you'll find there are basically cafeterias. Like there's two cafeterias on the ninth and 10th floor, one in the eighth floor in the other building, one in the fifth floor, and that every room has, I mean, every floor has like two snack bars. So lots of food. I think I picked up a few pounds while I was there. Uh,
Ooh.
but yeah, people wise, though, it's very supportive. Like everyone, I mean, of course, there's the expectation that everyone there will do well, everyone will do their jobs well and collaborate if necessary. But yeah, I mean, like if you do mess up, like the important thing is to like learn from it, I guess. Like, or maybe that's just my team. I'm not sure about the rest of it, but yeah, that's the general attitude. Like
Nice
everyone there
though.
has high standards, but everyone there is also going for growth.
Mm. Mm. High standards, but also growth. That's nice.
That's
That's
good.
nice to hear. All right, Grandma, what you got for us?
Mm, maybe we can go back here with the questions from the audiences. Carl Matt
That's
is asking,
questions.
any tips how to start making a portfolio?
Right, right, yeah. Like portfolio as in, is this like a GitHub portfolio or like a separate portfolio site? Could you like let me know?
Sorry.
Like, I mean, is he asking for a portfolio website or like a GitHub portfolio? Oh, website and
Yeah,
GitHub. All
website
right.
or GitHub.
Okay. Okay. So when it comes to the GitHub portfolio, it's a good thing to make your code look as professional as possible. Because like this, your GitHub profile gives the impression for the recruiters and the managers of what kind of code you produce. So as much as possible, you're going to want to have a really professional looking code in your GitHub profile. So add a lot of readmes, add a lot of comments, make it well documented to the point if someone else starts working on the project, they won't get lost. Yeah, so just yeah, like follow different conventions for Python, make code Pythonic, and if it's on JavaScript, make it on TypeScript if possible. But that's not a big issue. Just in general, just make your code look professional and make it so that what do you call this thing?
Okay, that's
Yeah,
great.
just to keep in mind that like just put your best foot forward. Yeah, that's I think that's the best way to put it. in code quality. For the website, you're gonna want to showcase the projects that you have a lot of impact. So if you have a project with a lot of signups or a project that touched a lot of people's lives, that's always a very good thing to put in. Recruiters and managers like seeing that you build things that people actually use instead of maybe toy projects that you run once and never run again. Yeah, so helpful projects are always preferred to those. Website, yeah, it's also always a good idea to put in good UX in it and good, just put on a good design. Like even if you're not gonna go to a team that's like front end heavy, for example, if you're gonna go to the database team like me, it's still a good idea to make sure your website still looks good because it'll give off a better impression to your recruiter or the hiring manager.
Okay. So that's good. So Catherine here has a question also. Uh,
Okay.
she's asking if tech skills are is required to become a
Hmm.
product manager.
Tech skills are required to be a product manager? Oh, okay. Um, not they're not strictly required, but they're always preferred. And the thing is, like a lot of the people who apply for tech product management roles kind of do have it. So it might put you at a disadvantage, but you can offset that by being deeply specialized in the field that you're going to. For example, where I'm at currently, we're a fintech, so if we were to hire a product manager, I mean, like we'd look for someone who has deep experience in the banking industry, for example, or in the payments industry, not necessarily a tech. We just need to, yeah, have some what they call this thing, value that you bring that's unique that can help you understand the product in a certain perspective. But then again, that product jobs vary from differently from company to company. So some companies might strictly look for people with a tech background. Some don't mind. It depends on the company you're applying to at the end of the day.
Okay. All right. So, Nico, can you hear us now? Nico, you there yet?
Hello, can you hear me?
Nico's
Hello.
back.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can hear you.
Yes. Hello. Welcome back,
Hello.
Nico.
So
Hello.
I have a question, but it's about the interview. Can you tell us something
Mhm.
about? Can you tell us something to keep in mind when we're going through the interview?
Hmm. Okay. All right. Like, is this coding interview? Like, or the behavioral interview?
Yeah, for the coding interview, because I
Coding
know
interview.
some people here that underwent a coding interview, and they were really nervous, and sometimes it backfires. So can you
Yeah, I
give us
understand.
advice?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, personal opinion, coding interviews suck. Like, whatever you do there usually doesn't happen in your day-to-day job. But that aside, when you go into coding interviews, it's you don't really need to have a working solution 100% of the time. You just need to have your thought process transparent when you go through this. Like, you should be able to convey the steps that you take in solving the problem very well. That's usually what companies look for. Uh, yeah, I mean, of course, it's always a plus if you solve the thing, but it's not always mandatory. Seeing that you can communicate with different like tech people and non-tech people is kind of what they go for. But yeah, I mean, just at the end of the day, just relax. If you don't know a question, don't be afraid to ask for help. There, I mean, as long as you don't ask for the answer itself, you should be fine.
All right. All right. Cool.
Right.
Nico, what you got, bro? Anything else?
Okay. So what could you say was your edge when what could you say was your edge to get you to where you are right now?
Like internship wise or the entire thing.
Like in general, like from like what do you think was something that pushed you to like get the internship, get the job?
Mm. Okay, yeah. I mean, I suppose it's attitude. It's like I'm always looking forward to building things, like creating products, creating something that helps people. That I think that's what helped me a lot, and that's what drove me to take the different steps I took before the Twitter internship. So like that's what drove me to intern for different labs at my university and different startups. Yeah, yeah, I think that's the best way to put this thing.
That's fun though.
Hmm.
All right, so okay, a bit of a wrap up, but not really, but like because we want to get to know more about this. Um, what do you know? What do you know now that you wish you knew when you started your career? Because like
Hmm.
eventually we look back
Okay.
and we think about should have learned this and stuff. Who would be that? What's for you?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah. Okay. Right. I suppose like if I wanted to say something to myself like a few years ago, it would be to focus on your communication skills because like a lot of people get the impression that you can be a total shut-in introvert while you're a software engineer and you'll do fine. That's not the case. You
Mm-hmm.
still have to communicate a lot. You have to communicate well to get things done in different companies and different projects. So yeah, just don't neglect your communication skills, even if you are in a role that seems like it's just you and the code. Aside from that, another thing I wish I told myself was don't rate your skills on a scale on your resume. Like, at the end of the day, no one cares if you put yourself as like 7 out of 10 on Photoshop because the recruiters won't know what the heck that means. And totally useless information. I wish I knew that before I started applying for a few companies. Yeah, those two things mainly.
All
All right,
right, all
we
right.
still have a few questions. We still have
Yeah,
time
yeah,
for
we
that,
have.
right?
Yeah, we have a lot of time.
All right,
All
good.
right. So I
Yeah,
know
can
over
you hear?
here has
Can you hear me? Can
asked.
you hear?
Uh, Hannah over
Hello.
here has asked. Everyone, we can hear you. Hello, can you hear us?
Yeah, yeah. Can you? Yeah,
All right.
am I sounding clear? No.
Yeah, you sound clear. You sound clear. Good. You
Okay.
good. Okay. Hannah over here has asked, how has working in Twitter helped you in your career? Like,
Yeah, that's
it's
a
an
good one
internship.
too. Um, Working on Twitter, like it's a good way to get exposed to large scale systems. Like from that point on, I kind of knew better how to navigate my way around big companies. Like you get really familiar with infrastructure and the different processes within. That's really transferable to a lot of the different places you go to. If, for example, you go to Twitter, then to Facebook, then to Google, you'll pretty much experience the exact same thing all throughout. You'll pick up the best practices there. You'll see it a lot in different companies, and but yeah, that's been super helpful for me. Like just knowing how to work in big companies. Aside from that, it's also the tech skills that I picked up there. Over there, I got to work with a lot of interesting things. If you know Apache Storm, or no, Apache Huron. Yeah. It's been open source already, but we got to play around with it a bit before Twitter released it. Yeah, so which is pretty cool. It's a big data processing thing that helps you process things in real time, which is pretty important for Twitter. And it was pretty cool to play around with that, like before anyone else got to. Yeah, like
Cool, cool.
exposure to new technologies and like knowing how to work, basically.
Mm, all right.
Okay, that's good. So we got more questions here. Uh,
Right?
Jeremy is asking, what technical skills do you value as a software engineer? And Phoebe follows up with, and soft skills as a software engineer.
Okay, technical skills that I value as a software engineer. I mean, of course, you have the hard skills like being able to know how to code like specific languages for the specific task. But I'm not sure if this is a hard skill per se, but like knowing which languages to pick and which technologies to pick is very important. I mean, like, of course, everyone has the stack that they're very familiar with. For me, it's like the React and Node stack. But there are some cases where, like, for example, Django works better or Angular works better, Vue works better. It's very important to be able to understand like which tools work best for the job. Like a lot of people don't understand that. Some people just pick one language, master it, and throw it at everything they find, which nowadays isn't that bad, but it's still not the right approach. As for skills, yeah, that's mainly communication, like being able to communicate complex ideas to different people, break down different complex topics to people that aren't even in tech, because you're gonna run into a lot of those if your team has a project manager or product manager, for example. Uh, yeah, I mean, nowadays too, I'd recommend getting comfortable with video calls because that's looks like that's gonna be the medium for all meetings soon.
I mean,
Does
especially
that
now since
answer
video calls are
the
so
question? Or was
easy.
it something else?
Sorry?
Yeah, sorry, you're breaking up a bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, it's choppy for you. Yeah, so like you said that it was video calls because nowadays it's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
important to be able
Oh
to
yeah,
handle that right there.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay,
Okay.
what
All
else
right.
do we have? Who else did
Um,
something?
we got Kevin here. He wants to ask you, what's the most important things that you learned during your internship at Twitter?
Yeah. Like I mentioned, it's the way of working in the companies, like knowing how to interact with product managers, project managers, managers, directors, etc. Knowing the different processes, the attitudes that you're supposed to have when you approach certain problems. I there's actually a book I think I recommend if you guys are going into like SRE or DevOps. It's the SRE Handbook by Google. It's open source, it's free. It's like you can just give it a good look. Even if you're not going to be a sysadmin, an SRE, or a DevOps guy, it's a good resource to look at. And let me just post it on the chat.
Okay, that's good.
There you
Okay,
go.
there's another question from Paulo. Were you expected to be proficient in the required programming language in your role, or did they train you along the way?
Yes, yeah. They not only expect you to be proficient in the language that you're going to use throughout the internship, they screen you for it in the application process. So uh, I recommend like when you apply for internships, like you should understand what stack they're running on, like what programming languages they use, what software they use before like applying, because a lot of companies filter out for that. Yeah, like since I mean in Silicon Valley at least, like it's a very high fast-paced internship. Like there's no time to be teaching anyone the basics. I mean, if it's for like certain technologies, they might, like for example, if they might give an introductory course in Kafka, for example, Apache Kafka or Apache Storm. But for the really basic things like Python, Java, maybe Scala even, like you shouldn't really expect them to accept you if you're not good at the stack that they're using.
Mm, okay, that's actually quite informative. So,
Right, yeah,
Kat,
thank you.
Catherine here wants to ask you, what advice you might give to major business majors who wants to break into tech?
Hmm. Okay, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I suppose just dive into it. Like, my manager or my mentor actually at Twitter was actually an advertising major before he got there. Right now, if I remember correctly, I think he's a senior or a staff software engineer there. So, yeah, I mean, like, one day he just decided to give up on advertising and just waltz into tech. He took up the courses that he needed and then he applied for a job. He worked his way up now. He's a senior or staff guy in Twitter. So yeah, just get started with it. Like getting started, it's always usually the hardest part of any step or any process actually. Just like figure out where you want to be in tech, learn what you need to learn what you need to get into that position, then just go into it.
Mhm.
Like just keep building things. Like even if they're not, even if they don't have any impact to anyone, It's better than nothing.
Okay.
All right.
Uh,
Now we have one from Gene or John. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. John, Gene, John. I think you may have answered this a while ago, but again, how did you prepare for your coding interview again? Like,
Okay, yeah. How did I prepare for that? Yeah. So just base the usual lead code, easy lead code, medium. You can avoid lead code hard. Like only the, like if a company asks you lead code hard questions, they're bullshit. Uh, yeah. So lead code. That's one of the ways. Going through the basics of algorithms. That's another one. The CLRS. No, there's a big algorithm book that I can't really remember the name of, but it's a good idea to just go through the basics and know your data structures and algorithms. And lastly, it's getting used to explaining things like the complicated topics that you run into. Maybe just grab a friend, someone who's not into tech, and try to explain to them. See if they understand. If they can understand, good job. I think you'll do great in your interview if you can break down a complex topic into something that someone not in tech can understand. But yeah, those three things.
Okay, so
Okay.
there's another question from Renzo. To what extent has university helped you to be where you are right now?
Uh, huh. I mean, I'd say a good amount. Yeah, I mean, like, but then again, like, university can't take you the whole way through. Like, you still need to do a lot of things on your own. Like, sure, university will teach you the fundamentals, maybe you help you a bit with the career services, but at the end of the day, it's not enough to get you an internship. Usually, if you're just if like the best thing you can say is you got an A in your algorithms class and every comp sci class after that. But if that's the best you got, like I'm sorry, that's not good enough for the top companies. Like everyone there applying probably has the same profile as you. Need something to stand out at the end of the day. And yeah, I mean, university will get you far, but not far enough.
mm, well,
okay.
I think Jeremy has a question. Right.
All right. I'll do it.
Yeah, suggestion.
So do you have any suggested resources for someone who wants to get better in programming?
Like for someone who already has a background but wants to get better.
Yeah, probably. Is that right, Jeremy?
Hmm.
I'll
Like
Uh,
take that as a yes.
coding, is it like platform specific? Or do they want to be a good, like, for example, JavaScript engineer, etc.? Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, the best way to improve as a software engineer is to write things, to make things, to write code. That's the best way to apply. Maybe try to implement things you haven't done before, or like try to tackle big problems in your code. Yeah, I mean, like that's the most general advice I can give. Lead code might help you with your problem solving skills, but it won't make you great on your own. Like even if you are like in an informatics Olympiad and you get first place worldwide, that still doesn't mean you're a good software engineer. At the end of the day, you really just need to keep building.
Hmm.
okay.
Okay,
So
so there's another question
Oh boy.
from
Is it a long one?
hello.
Mm,
Uh,
Nico?
it's getting chopped. It's okay. I'll say it. So Paolo here has a question. Have you ever experienced programming burnout? If yes, how did you deal with it?
yeah, yeah. Did I? I don't really think I have yet
God
so
go
far,
there.
but
God
but
go
but,
there.
but I
Damn,
mean,
bro.
no, no. I mean, like, but yeah, I mean, it's always important to make sure that you work at a sustainable pace. I suppose, like you don't really want to burn out in any case.
Mm,
Uh, yeah, like just make sure you don't burn out. At the end of the day, you're a lot better off if you work at a sustainable pace than burn yourself out doing a certain task in any field, for example, in any field for that matter. I mean, uh, but yeah, just pace yourself. Like know yourself, know your limits, know how you're doing at the moment. and yeah, then you'll do fine. You can avoid it pretty well.
All right, that's nice to hear. All right, for the audience, we can take one last question. If you do have any more questions, one last question, please take it in the chat. So take it away, guys.
All right.
We'll give you.
Yeah, you can also open your mics, ask the question directly to Brennan.
We'll be opening the floor, so
That works.
you guys can ask away.
Yeah, we open the floor for open mic. Open your mics, guys.
Guys, come on, get to interact with an intern from Twitter before then. This is a rare opportunity. You guys can always ask.
I hope it's not. I mean, I think you can just contact any of us. We'll answer questions pretty well.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello there.
Hi, Verena. Do you have any tips on LinkedIn? On how to properly network on LinkedIn?
Okay. I mean, first off, you're gonna want to like clean up your profile. Like, no one wants to talk to someone if they don't understand who they're talking to. Just try to clean up your profile as much as you can before you start connecting with people. Second, you're gonna want to be a bit active there. Like, just post things, like post valuable things. I mean, like your accomplishments, things you have to say. Like, if you want to write a Medium and post on there, that's a good thing. Shows that you have like passion, I suppose, for the field that you want to get into. And or for talking to people, yeah, like just reach out, I suppose. Like, it shouldn't be too hard to get that done. A lot of people are willing to help. You just need to approach them the right way. Be respectful when you do. Be aware that they might not have a lot of time for you. Don't take any of it personally. And yeah, I mean, I think LinkedIn still has free premium for some time. Yeah, you might want to take advantage of that. It'll help you reach out to a lot of other people.
Is paying for the LinkedIn Premium worth it?
I mean, like, you get a free month. You can get a lot of stuff done in that free month. I never really found a need to extend beyond it, but in that 1 month, I found it super helpful. Like, it helped me gauge the like where I stand among different candidates and helped me reach out to people that are far outside my network, which was super helpful when it came to networking.
Okay. Good.
I have a question.
Sure.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah. Just so right now you currently work at Mesh, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Fintech start. So can you? I was just wondering, like, given that you've worked at like really big company like Twitter, and now you work sort of as a startup, like, what's one or two things that you feel like are very different? Obviously, other than the obvious ones that are, obviously like smaller teams, so therefore, you have like more like a close kind of a most close knit kind of group. And obviously that, kind of like things work faster again because it's a much smaller culture or company because it's a startup. But are there some things, in the way that you see, like the way they approach problems, the way they frame the kind of like problems and solutions when it's in a startup as opposed to like a sort of a big company? Just very curious on kind of like your experience because you worked at sort of two different companies, and specifically like what that approach is in terms of like solving problems from like a startup perspective.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, I'm sorry, this might sound a bit obvious, but like, yeah, I mean, like, when you work at startups, you're a lot closer to the people that you work with on the product. Like, you get to talk with the actual users. For me, I get to talk with a lot of merchants. I mean, like, right, I mean, even the software engineers at our startup, they talk with a lot of merchants. So you get to have a really in-depth view of the product. And in Twitter, that doesn't happen. Like, you have specified people to like interact with the customers. You have specific people that gathers your feedback, specific people that designs from that feedback. So a lot of it gets lost. So yeah, I mean, you get a much better overview and as a startup, and you get to really focus into your product and really build something that people want, and that's not just something that someone told you that people want. I think that affects the motivation of the people here in my startup a lot.
Okay, so you guys are just a lot more client facing, consumer facing, because you startup you get to wear a lot of hats as opposed to like a Twitter, like you said, you're just more specific to like your specific department. You
Right,
don't
right.
really sort of interact. Interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. One more question. Just since you're using the app, and obviously since you worked at Twitter and you worked at a startup, just curious to hear your kind of your thoughts on Fiesta. I'm one of the sort of the founders of Fiesta. In terms of, I mean, really quick, what it is a a platform where like a social media type of platform where you have a list of all the different events with video conferencing and like social media elements. Obviously, given your really sort of extensive experience, even though you're I would say you're relatively young, but you've already accomplished some really great things and worked at some really interesting companies. What are your thoughts on kind of like sort of what Fiesta is, where we're combining a little bit like elements of like Eventbrite with like a like event marketplace with like a Zoom or like video conferencing
Mhm.
kind of sort of functionality, and then like social media kind of sort of like elements. What are your thoughts?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, actually, personally, I kind of love the concept, like just being able to open an app and just like learn something new or like interact with different people, like without having to like sign up for a conference. Like for example, it comes 7 days later and then you eventually forget it. It's a good thing that there's a steady stream of new content.
Uh-huh.
The app is actually pretty good for like for a young startup, but I mean it could use a bit of work, but I mean that's understandable. Like all startups could use a bit of work. Mine
Right.
especially, like we have things with stability. But yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, just you just need to get the fundamentals perfect, then expand upon
Right.
that. Then I think you have a good future ahead.
Okay. Is there something, some sort of like one or two features that'd be like, oh, it'd be really cool if you guys had this, right? Or just something that you say that
Hmm.
you look at it that you're like, you're missing this, or this would just make it so much better.
Right. I have a few. Like first off, like right now I'm on my iPad. It's kind of weird because like this app's built for an iPhone. It has expanded a bit. It just
Okay.
I mean, it's understandable. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
aside
iPad
from
comes with.
that,
Yep. Mhm.
I'd love a staging area for like the hosts and the like the speakers to interact with, like just to make sure everything's all good, like everything's all
Mm.
set before we actually go into a call.
Okay.
Um, Aside from that, yeah, I mean, just basic improvements to the different features. Like there's some glitches here and there, which is understandable.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, just
Okay.
work on the fundamentals, and
Yeah.
everything will
No. Thank
follow.
you. Yeah, the staging area is definitely an interesting concept. People have kind of brought it up a little bit, or like, can they access the events a little bit earlier? But the staging sort of suggestion, yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it.
Right,
Thank you.
right, no problem. You're welcome.
All right. Anybody else got any questions? So the floor is still open.
Floor still open for you guys.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
need to
I
be
mean,
shy.
I don't mind. Just
Oh wait, let me.
someone got kicked out.
Yes.
Oh, they're
Ali.
back. They're back. It's all good.
So they're getting kicked out, or they're getting
Oh
kicked
man.
out. So,
Oh,
they're having errors. Sorry about that. Mm, okay, so I think some people are having problems connecting to the event. Uh, so yeah, I think
oh,
Yeah, we had like I think a few people got kicked off. You had 38 people watching a while ago. Now we only have
oh,
32 on. Man.
yeah, I
right.
mean,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
guess. If
Any
anybody,
questions to?
sorry, the floor is still
maybe
open, guys. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to, like either of you, go ahead. I'm still here. Open to questions.
yeah.
Hmm.
Hi, Ali. We're sorry about the technical errors. We're fixing it right now. And then by the TechOpps next event, it's going to be okay.
We'll
Thank
do our best.
you.
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So,
All right.
well, I guess no one has any questions anymore. Guess we can have a closing question for now. For now, all right. So our
Yeah, yeah.
finale question for you, Brennan, is what question? If you were in our position interviewing you, what questions would you have asked yourself?
Ah, yeah, that's always a good question to ask, even when you interview people. Like, is there anything I should have asked? Hmm, let's see. I don't know, maybe you could have asked a bit on how to, like, some resume tips, I suppose. Like,
I,
because that's always a kind of a bit of a mess to navigate, even though it's just like one page. There's a lot of different things you need to take into account for it. Like I mentioned something about not rating your skills out of 10 on your resume because it's pointless to recruiters. I should also mention that professional goals, like most of the time, they're not helpful for recruiters because if they are if looking for that kind of information, they're gonna ask for a cover letter, for example. Spacing is always good. You also need to show your skill, like how you use your skills in your job experience or work experience or volunteer experience, whatever experience. You just need to show that you can actually do the skills that you've stated on your resume. It's also a good idea to try to quantify those as much as possible if you can. Like say that you launched an app with 500 users in the first few days. That's a good measure to put up. You maintain an app that has like 1 million daily active users. That's another good metric to put up. Just yeah, I mean, engineering recruiters, at least as far as I know, they love numbers. They love being able to gauge things and compare to other people. So yeah, quantify things. You're gonna also want to leave out your phone number and like for example hobbies. Like most of the time they don't care. I mean they do care, but just not in that particular document.
mm,
Um, yeah. Aside from that, you can also put your resume experience on top and put your education at the bottom because that's the most important thing, or it should be when you apply to different jobs and internships. Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I think that's a good coverage of what I think about resumes.
Would you say that in terms of resumes, would you say that it's more important? Would education be more important or experience? Okay, like you can focus more on the grades and stuff, right? But
Mhm.
would you say that this is enough to garner a good job or a good network in the future, or do you really need to branch out? What do you say?
I mean, like, yeah, I mean, you can, I suppose, build up a good network, build up a good, get good offers from companies if you just have high grades, but you're still a lot better off if you branch out and expand to a bit of extracurriculars, so to say.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean, grades will only take you so far too. I
that is
mean,
true.
like if everyone has high grades when you apply, then like how are you gonna stand out?
True.
Same
True.
thing,
True.
same advice goes if you apply to business school. I mean, the other guy from Microsoft earlier said he was like, I mean, it's a good thing to have something that helps you stand out. Grades won't help you stand out. Everyone has high grades.
Mm, true. Right. Well, I can't say the same for myself.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
I hope it's not
So
that bad.
it's doable.
All right.
All right, Birman, take it away.
All right. So thank you, Brendan, for coming to accepting our invitation here at Tech Talks. Speaking with us, talking with you, it was very insightful. It's really helpful to be able to learn a lot of things that you've experienced
Mhm.
that we would be able to apply to our own selves, that so that we would be able to advance ourselves and to our careers. So thank you,
Yeah.
Brendan.
Glad to help. Glad to help.
Thanks.
Oh,
Then
So
sorry. Yeah. If
thank you.
anyone has any like further questions that they want answered, just feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I might not get to them right away, but I'll eventually get to it.
all right.
Mm-hmm.
So, Brennan, I think people wants to connect with you on LinkedIn. Maybe you can
Mm,
send
Mm.
people do.
Maybe you can send your profile here.
Let me just search.
All right.
Just search my name on the. Is it showing up? Doesn't look like it's showing up. Okay, I think I posted the chat, but it's not popping up.
Let me take
Anyway,
a look.
is it there? Do you guys see it?
Yeah, your name popped up.
Okay.
Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
No,
name?
it says it's not the link though.
It's not the
Oh
link.
yeah, it's not a link. I don't think I. Yeah, it's a kind of a long link. I don't really want to type it out, but you can't miss it. I mean, I don't
Yes,
think there's a
you
lot
good.
of Brandon Matrianos in the world. I'd be
That
surprised
is
if there
true.
was.
All right.
If any of you want to connect, you can always just ask us. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. That ends our podcast for today.
Today.
Thank you for coming, everyone. We hope to see you in our next podcast. And yeah, stay tuned. See ya.
See you around, guys. Thank you again, Brennan.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you for attending, guys.
Yeah, have
Bye
a good
bye.
day.
Have a good day, guys.
Have a great day, everyone.